have a fascinating salary survey coming up from the guys at Cooper Fitch. It is that time of the year. The recruitment and headhunting company has released its 2024 wage report, and we have the founder and the CEO, Trefor Murphy, to go through it with us. Trev, good morning.
Good morning, Brandy.
Before we dig into the 2024 numbers, and I have questions, remind us what we saw in salaries in the UAE in 2023.
So we saw a reasonably good increase, about 3%, 3.5% as an average in 2023. There was lots of outliers in that. Some did not move salaries at all, and some were significantly ahead of that, up to, mid double digits, 12, 14%.
Which is what I want to question you about for this year. So you've spoken to more than 1,000 companies. The average that they've said they will be providing their employees with when it comes to salary rises is?
4.5%, yeah.
But there is quite a spread in this. Talk to me first off about the top end.
So the top end is probably getting very interesting. We're seeing a number of organisations increasing above 10%, just under 10%, between 5 and 10%. So very healthy. Typically, we're seeing where there's a shortage of skills that are required. So a lot in the tech space, a lot in the strategy and general consulting space as well, paying over odds. And in the UE specifically, with a resurgent real estate market, quite a significant improvement in salaries in that area as well.
So that's at the high end,
Yeah.
but we've got a quarter that is looking to hold.
Yeah, it's actually quite unusual that we see that size of percentage. It's been bigger than the last number of years. Look, I think you have a number of factors there at the holding and reducing levels, I think. But at the holding levels first, maybe we're probably seeing organisations that have had increases over the last number of years and they feel that they're at market levels at the moment, whether that is the case or not. But there's certainly quite a large percentage not going to increase salaries for next year.
And we've got about a fifth, so that's still 20-odd percent.
21%, yeah.
Saying they're going to lower them.
Yes, this is terribly unusual. But look, I think in a general market position, you've probably got in an overall employment market of a city like Dubai or an emirate like the UAE, you would have lots of organisations that are struggling because of their market position, because their product or service is not competing well in market. But it's a worrying outlook that there are organisations that want to actually reduce salaries next year.
Okay, I have questions about this.
Yeah.
Firstly, how can you do that legally?
Well, without consent, it's absolutely illegal. With consent, there are maybe some wriggle room there. I would suspect that this will be for organisations that are hiring new people in rather than just blanketly reducing salaries across their workforce at the moment. How
are we at a place where 20% of respondents have said to you, yeah, we're going to look to lower salaries or hire people on less money, at a time when it feels like on the ground the economy is booming? How do those two things sit together?
Yeah, for those organisations that are attempting, are not going to even increase salaries this year, they're going to struggle. They're probably already in that position already, indicatively. So, I'm not going to say there's a kind of the term that recruitment or search firms use, that there's a war on talent. I don't think we're there just yet, but they will certainly struggle to retain staff that they really need to retain to keep businesses going. So it's going to be a more difficult period for them. We see, recruitment numbers are way up above pre-COVID levels across the UAE. So they're going to really struggle to keep business going and retain the talent that they need to retain.
Are you suggesting, though, that they have no other choice?
In some cases, yeah, I think it comes down to that, because if they're doing well in market, with numbers, revenue numbers or EBITDA numbers good, of course they want to retain, they want to grow and want to hire new people in and hire better talent in, and they want to retain the talent that they've built up.
What are you expecting to see in terms of the discretionary stuff, bonuses and allowances?
Yeah, so pretty healthy, I think, on the overall. about 73% of organisations in the UAE are looking to pay out bonuses, and slightly higher in Saudi Arabia.
Who's getting them?
Well, nearly 75% of us, hopefully. So look, I think it's probably across. I don't think it's industry specific. It really is organisations doing well. They want to retain their people. Others are paying bonuses, so there's a lot of pressure to make sure bonus pools are being paid out. So I think it's across the board. There are some, consulting firms have had a bumper year. Real estate organisations have had a bumper year. A lot of technology organisations, not all of them, but a lot of them have really had a good year. So they're going to really look at paying out good bonuses this year.
You mentioned Saudi, and you've also got here that you were expecting to see the highest ever increase in Saudi salaries. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, 6.2% as an average is phenomenal. We've never seen that kind of number before. I think the highest was maybe early 5% in previous years. Saudi is a phenomenal and insatiable demand for talent at the moment, based specifically in Riyadh. But also across some of the more remote projects that are happening. So, 6.2% is an exceptionally healthy number.
What does that wage rise compared to what you're predicting to see in the UAE mean for people's ability to poach talent? That's an average of averages. That's 6.2%. We are seeing talent being poached 15, 20, 25, 30% ahead of even in-country market levels. The demand for, really good Saudi talent at, chief level, CFO, CEO, chief shared services officer level is way above that. So the 6.2% is kind of like an indicative average of everything, but the actual numbers from poaching-wise and attracting talent is significantly ahead of that. Okay, we've got about a minute and a half left with you. What are you seeing in terms of supply and demand at the moment? We've spoken before about the number of people coming here without jobs to hunt for them. Where are we at the moment on that?
Well, last week, I think it's a very good, and if you just look at the traffic and the amount of people that are in Dubai specifically at the moment, it's I've been here for 12 years. I don't remember it being like this before, but the amount of people that want to come here or are coming here or planning to come here is way up. Applications for jobs in the last quarter are up by 30-40%. It is a phenomenal indicator of how attractive the UAE is a place to come to.
Well, thank you very much for sharing those numbers with us. The founder and CEO of Cooper Fitch, Trefor Murphy, with their incredibly interesting salary survey indeed. A average rise of 4.5% salary rise here in the UAE, 6.2% he's predicting for next year for Saudi, which is the highest for them that they've seen so far.
Your ARN News
with Etihad Airways.